Welcome back to Neuro-Spectrum Conversations. I'm your host, Alyssa Pierce, and today we're going to be talking about the power of music therapy and how it can support communication, emotional regulation, social development, and overall quality of life for neurodivergent individuals and their families. Joining me today is Haley Reiff from River City Rhythms. So thank you so much for being here, Haley.
Yeah, hi. My name is Haley. I'm not originally from Southern Indiana. I actually grew up in a town called Mooresville up by Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And I came down here to attend UE in 2015. I decided on UE after we came down for a visit because my stepdad went there.
Mm-hmm.
And I went on a big tour. I went on a tour of the music program because I was still interested in doing orchestra. So we did that, and then I decided that was the place for me.
Okay, that's awesome. We are big music fans over here. My son is obsessed with listening to music and dancing. So I was super excited when you said you wanted to do a podcast episode. So what inspired you to become a music therapist?
So I actually had no idea what music therapy was until I went on that tour of UE.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was going through the music building, they let me go through some of the classes and they let me sit in on one. And it was one about like guided imagery,
Mm-hmm.
something, a class like that. And I sat in on it and I was like, oh, this is cool. So I talked with the music therapy professor there about kind of what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And originally I had been thinking about like doing nursing or something like that, just something that I could still help people because
Mm-hmm.
I was always wanting to go into like a service
Mm-hmm.
that I would be able to help somebody in some way, but
Right.
I also wanted to continue doing music. So
Mm-hmm.
I just happened to go to the right place at the right time and discover, oh, I can do both with this one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that,
Really
yeah,
cool.
that's why I decided on music therapy.
That's awesome. So what is your role at River City Rhythms? Can you tell us a little bit more about your program that you offer?
Sure. I'm the owner of River City Rhythms. The idea for this company came to me last year during my pregnancy. I
Mm-hmm.
decided during my pregnancy that I did not want to go back to my current position. I was working as a skills development specialist at Southwestern Behavioral Healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kind of decided I was over over that.
Mm-hmm.
So I made sure to keep up with my certification with music, and then towards the end of my pregnancy is when I started kind of putting it out there that I was going to have this business, I was going to have openings,
Mm-hmm.
and then went into full swing of it after I had my little baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then my program right now is I offer three different types of sessions. I can do 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, people choose the hour because
Mm-hmm.
that is usually what the Medicaid waiver requires when we do sessions with them.
Right.
And I also offer Medicaid waiver services, but that is through like a contract position, so that's not through my company. I
Mm-hmm.
myself am not a Medicaid waiver provider, so I can't do that quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard it is an extensive application process that I'm not sure if I want to get into.
I don't blame you. I know that that can be tough sometimes to deal with. That's awesome. So for some of the listeners who may not be familiar with music therapy, what exactly is music therapy?
So I'll give you kind of the Google definition of it first, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'll go into kind of more of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do look it up on Google, what the little Google AI will give you now
Mm-hmm.
is music therapy is an evidence-based clinical practice that uses music to address physical, emotional, cognitive, and social needs. It's led by a board-certified music therapist. Sessions involve personalized activities like playing instruments, singing, songwriting, and listening to help patients process trauma, manage pain, and improve communication.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Google is going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I like to give kind of examples when I do my explanation because I feel like we can work on more than what all is said in that little Google spiel there.
Mm-hmm.
We can work on emotions, we can work on communication, social skills, physical, motor skills, honestly, tons of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
when we go in and we do our assessment, we look at that individual and then we tailor a specific treatment plan for them.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much every person that I work with they have similar like overall goals, but the objectives that we put under those goals are going to be the part that's tailored specifically for that person.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they need to work on social skills. So maybe we go through different songs about how people interact with each other. Or maybe we make a song about how we greet somebody, how we have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we'll work on motor skills. So that could be like overall physical stuff, like doing dancing,
Mm-hmm.
doing instrument play, and we can work on fine motor skills too. That's kind of where like a piano would come in.
Mm-hmm.
We can work on learning about emotions. In the past, I've made emotion playlists with some of my older clients where
Mm-hmm.
they will put together songs that go with certain moods that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of my most fun activities to do, but I can't do that with everybody, which kind of sucks. But it's a really cool one to just like have in your toolbox. Oh, I'm feeling sad right now. I can play this playlist. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
it starts with a sad song and then you listen through it and it gets happy at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. I have always loved, I am a psychology major, so we kind of went through all the different types of therapies you could offer to people. And I have always resonated with music. I'm a very creative person. I'm a very right brain person. So I relate to music in a very special way. And actually, my husband does as well, but he can see colors with different songs.
Mm.
So I think that that is super cool. I didn't even know that was a thing,
That is
but I
super cool.
love,
I've never
yeah,
met somebody like that.
yeah, I don't remember what it's called. There's a specific name for it and I can't remember it. But I love how music can just turn something on in your brain and it can offer something so special and personal to the person who's listening to it, however they interpret that. I think that's a beautiful thing to have. And, music therapists, I don't know of very many in this area. I think I only know of maybe two music therapy places. So it's nice to know that there's another person out there that offers that to this community. Um, so how is music therapy different from just, like music lessons or just simply listening to music?
Yeah, when you listen to music or when you're learning an instrument, you don't typically have like a specific goal in mind other than I want to learn this instrument or I need some entertainment, so I'm going to listen to this song or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. In music therapy, kind of like you said, how it activates a different part of your brain.
Mm-hmm.
With a lot of people, it does. It literally activates a different part of your brain and it makes
Mm-hmm.
things easier to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in music therapy, you can definitely learn to use different tools to your benefit
Mm-hmm.
and you can work on using maybe what you already use music as like a healthy coping skill.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it for, especially working with neurodivergent children and, especially for like nonverbal kids too, because my son didn't really talk and then he listened to some songs and he started singing those songs all the time, and he can sing them all the way through with all the correct words. So
That's
I think that
awesome.
I know it's so cool to see that. Um, so what do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about music therapy?
I think the biggest one that I've come across is people people think that we're just showing up and we're gonna do like fun music time with their kid.
Hmm.
We're just here, we're gonna play a few instruments, and we're not from the outside, it doesn't necessarily always look like we are working on something.
Hmm.
Like even if we're just sitting there having fun, that's working on a social skill. That's
Hmm.
working on communication.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of a lot of parents don't necessarily see that either.
Yeah.
But I'd say that's the biggest misconception.
Yeah, I know that there are some people who, are considered to be more left brain, more analytical. They see black and white, and more right brain people are very creative. They feel things more strongly than others. And, I think if you're one of those types of people that would really benefit from music therapy, I think it would be incredibly beneficial because it teaches you a lot of really cool things. Um, so, with that being said, what populations do you currently work with through River City Rhythms right now?
So right now I work with a lot of different individuals and they have various different abilities. My
Hmm.
main population right now is in the autism community,
Hmm.
but I've done in my internship I've worked with people well up into their 80s. So
Wow.
I've gone around town and kind of passed out my flyer to a few nursing homes, memory care, assisted living places to see if maybe they'd like to do like a music group
Hmm.
and things like that. Because during my internship, it's more during college. They make you
Hmm.
do
Right.
what's called a practicum, which is
Hmm.
kind of like a clinical for like nursing, where
Hmm.
you go out into the community and you do groups at different places. So like I went to Evansville Psychiatric Children's it's EPCC. What's the last C? I can't remember the
Infant
last C, but I
maybe?
went to EPCC. I went to a few different nursing homes, some mental health facilities as well. So, I mean, I have experience in various different
Yeah.
populations, but I would say the
Range.
one I do have the
Yeah.
most experience with is the autism community.
Yeah. So a broad range of ages,
Mm.
just across the board. So how can music therapy benefit autistic kiddos and other neurodivergent children, since that's the population you work with currently?
Sure. I've worked on a lot of different goals with
Hmm.
autistic individuals. The most common goal areas that I do work on are communication and social skills.
Hmm.
So, like I
Okay.
said earlier, we do work on having those conversations. We work
Hmm.
on talking to other people. We work on if they have a device that they use because they're nonverbal. We work on using that device to say what they want, what they feel, what they want to do, things like that. I want statements.
Hmm.
Um, and I have a few clients that I've worked on daily living skills. So
Okay.
like using the bathroom. Maybe for like littles, we come up with fun songs that help them remember how to use the bathroom or something like that. I've work on money skills with one of my older individuals.
Hmm. Wow.
That one's actually, yeah, that one's a really fun one to do because
That's
what
really
I
cool.
do, what I do with that is I come with like a menu for
Okay.
the session and I have them pick out what they want to do for the session and they have to pay for it.
Yeah.
I don't make them give me their hard-earned money or anything, but uh, I make them pay me like the right amount. So maybe they owe me $15. They can't
Hmm.
give me a 10, that's not enough. They
Hmm.
have to figure out if they need to give me some ones or a 20 or whatever they have. So
Hmm.
that's a fun one too.
That's cool. That's
And I've
really
all
creative too.
Yeah, and that I'm not going to take credit for that one. It was my internship director that I got that idea from when I was doing my internship up in Indianapolis, and she gave me so many good ideas. She's probably one of the best music therapists I've ever met. She's been doing it for a very long time too.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't realize how creative you could get with that. Obviously, that shows how little I know about music therapy, but I do
Yeah.
appreciate that you're willing to meet these kids where they're at because I think that is incredibly important, especially like when you go through and do the assessment and kind of see if they'll even benefit from music therapy. So, what do you think are some signs that a child or individual may benefit from music therapy?
Sure. I think in the past I've only had maybe one or two individuals who did not, we'll say, vibe with music therapy.
Right.
The first one was he was very young. He was 2 or 3, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and he just was not having it. The whole session we met, he was just going, trying to leave the room, grabbing
Yeah.
onto his mother, like he was not having it. Uh,
Yeah.
but if you're looking for signs that somebody will enjoy it, there's a lot because pretty much everybody enjoys it because I said fun music time earlier is a big
Mm-hmm.
misconception, but it really is fun music time.
Mm-hmm.
We
Right.
we go in and we work on those goals, but a lot of the times the kids they don't really know that we're working on those big goals.
Mm-hmm.
They just
Right.
think they're there to have fun and do the activities that I bring, play instruments. But I mean, it can help in any area. So if you have a child who's really interested in music and like they can remember all the names to their favorite songs,
Mm-hmm.
they show interest in instruments or playing instruments.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They use songs for like scripting when they do daily activities. Pretty much any of that would be like a dead giveaway.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I know some kids just they don't want to do it. I totally understand that. But, that's also important to, have that consultation and talk with the parents and see, if this is even going to be something that they're interested in. Because, I mean, if not, there could be other options of different therapies out there that they could try. Um, so, how do you individualize sessions to meet the unique needs of each client? Like, I know you talked a little bit about nonverbal kiddos and their devices. So, what are some other ways that you personalize it for the child after their consultation?
Sure. During that consultation, I'll talk about things that the parents or the individual maybe wants to work on. So if
Mm-hmm.
they know that their kid has a hard time communicating with something,
Mm-hmm.
or they know that maybe they have a hard time grabbing things, they have a hard time with motor skills, I'll come with certain activities that are going to specifically kind of assess those skills. And I'll also when I do an assessment, I assess all areas to see how they're doing in all areas. Even if it's not like a concern, I still like
Mm-hmm.
tick it off on my assessment just to make sure. Uh, because maybe there's something that a parent didn't notice that their kid was doing. Because sometimes parents have a little bit of a blindness when it comes to their child, you know.
Right.
They don't always want to see every, I put in quotation, problem that their kid has, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like I got off track and I forgot what the question was.
Okay. Just like individualizing and
Yeah.
personalizing it, for each
Okay.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was talking about their devices that they use sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
For kids that don't use devices who can speak but maybe just choose to not do so much.
Right.
I
Right.
make like visual cards for them with
Mm-hmm.
choices on them. So like I have a bunch of Disney cards that I have laminated. So if we're making song choices, I'll hold them up and I'll say, "Hey, which one do you want?"
Mm-hmm.
We'll do that. We can make session schedules if a kid like really likes to have that routine.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to use a guitar compared to like using recorded music on a speaker,
Mm-hmm.
um, depending on like sensory needs, because maybe they don't like they don't like the way the guitar sounds. And
Right.
that causes like sensory issues for them. So maybe
Right.
we use a speaker, or maybe they just don't like when other people sing songs. I've had
Yeah.
that one before.
Yeah.
So sometimes we do that, and then I mean, there's pretty much anything that I can adapt to in a session and make it work.
Hmm. Well, that's good that, I mean, you're willing to do that because I know some places they're a little bit more strict and, not every place is like that. Of course, every place is different, but it's important, for the therapist to be flexible and meet the kid where they're at because my son, if you play a certain song, he will get very upset, very overstimulated. He flaps his hands, he puts his hands over his ears and says no. And, that's very triggering for him. I'm still not sure why because he is nonverbal, so I can't really ask him, but,
Mhm.
you know, it's only certain songs and I don't know if it's maybe the pitch of the song or how fast it is, but having someone to accommodate to him and knowing when he shows signs of that, just back off of it completely. That's super important to me, especially because I want to make sure my son's getting something out of this and that the therapy session is working.
Of
um
course.
yeah. So run us through like what a typical music therapy session would look like for someone.
Sure. When I'm working with kids, it is a little bit more structured.
Hmm.
I start with a hello song, and
Hmm.
the one that I like to use is kind of like a remix of Bear in the Big Blue House.
Hmm.
That goodbye song that they do at the end.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they go goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye.
Yeah.
So I do hello, hello, good friends, hello. And
Oh, okay.
we go through, and if there are siblings in the room, or if mom or dad is in the session, we'll sing hello to each person individually. And
Okay.
that just kind of goes along with like that social aspect and communicating with other people. So I
Hmm.
like to start with that, and it also signals that we are starting music.
Hmm. Right.
And then, yeah, with most people, it's usually a little bit free flowing.
Hmm.
I'll have them make song choices, or I'll have them pick out their activities and make that s schedule. And then we will use the visuals that I have to like Velcro them onto the schedule so that we know what we're doing.
Hmm.
That works really well for those individuals that struggle with changing activities.
Hmm.
So they know what's going to come next. Sometimes I will
Hmm.
use a timer so
Okay.
that they know when we are going to start that next activity.
Hmm.
Um, but I adapt through each session too. If I see that something's not working with somebody, if I see, and you mentioned that your son has certain
Hmm.
songs that kind of overstimulate him.
Hmm.
I've seen that in a few other individuals too. If
Hmm.
I see that, I make note that maybe we don't use that song anymore.
Hmm. Right.
Um, so I usually do a mix between kind of live music, and I also use music like just from my Apple Music. We'll just play
Hmm.
it.
Right.
It's
Right.
kind of
Like recorded
dependent.
songs. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of dependent on what activity we're doing. If
Hmm.
it's something that I need them to sing along with, because maybe we're working on trying some new words out, I'll usually do it on guitar.
Hmm.
If it's something we're just playing instruments to kind of like take a little break or something, I'll usually do recorded because it gives my voice a little bit of a break too.
Right. Yeah.
But we'll do those activities, and then we will end with that goodbye song.
Okay.
So
That
we
sounds
signal, yeah, we signal beginning and we signal end just so there's no confusion.
right. That's good for kids who have a hard time with transitions too. I
Mhm.
know that my son also struggles with that really bad. So thinking in your career, are there any particularly meaningful success stories or experiences that have stayed with you throughout your music therapy journey?
Oh, for sure. I've worked with a lot of different people. At my old job, when I worked up in Indianapolis, I worked for a company called Embracing Abilities.
Hmm.
And I only quit there because I moved down here.
Hmm.
But one of the best companies I've ever worked for, they care so much about their individuals.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked with one, and I am allowed to share his name.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Matthew Hobson, and he's
Mm-hmm.
actually written a whole book. He's written multiple songs with me, and we have them on YouTube, and he's still writing songs with his current music therapist too.
Oh,
He's just
that's cool.
he is overall a wonderful person. Awesome. He is verbal and he has cerebral palsy.
Okay.
So writing all those songs for him was kind of painstaking. He
Uh-huh.
had to type each individual letter with just like one finger on his iPad.
Mm-hmm.
So for
Wow.
him to write an entire book was awesome. I don't remember the exact name of the book, but it's sold on Amazon too, and
Mm-hmm.
it talks about him kind of feeling trapped inside of his body.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
such a powerful book. I'm gonna find the name of it for you, and I'll send it, and you can put it in the notes for the show too.
Sure.
But
Yeah. I'd love
it's a
to.
beautiful book,
Wow, that is
and
so cool.
he he would write all these songs, and in these songs, he would talk about the way that his autism makes him feel.
Mm-hmm.
And he would talk about how his faith in God really helps him with all of that too. He was very religious.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'll have to send you some of the songs too, because my productions of the songs aren't that great, but the lyrics are wonderful. I'm
I'm
just,
wonderful.
I'm not that kind of music person. I don't know how to produce music.
Right, right. I totally understand that. That's very powerful. And I'm glad you got to be a part of that experience because, it's things like that that just stick with you and you like know in your heart that what you're doing is helping someone and that just makes it all worthwhile. So I'm glad that you got to experience that with that person.
He was
Um,
great.
yeah. So, what kinds of changes or progress have families reported after their kiddos participated in music therapy?
I've had people tell me that their overall child's social skills have improved,
Mhm.
that instead of having to start conversations with their child every day, the kids would start asking the parents questions instead.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know, and that's like a big thing is a lot of autistic individuals won't start conversations with
Uh-huh.
people.
Right,
They'll
right.
wait to be talked to or something like that. Another one I've heard is that their speech has become better.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying words more clearly than they did before.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're starting to move a little bit better, becoming a little bit more relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're actually using coping skills on their own,
Mm-hmm.
which is a hard
Wow.
one. Usually they have
Yeah.
to be like prompted, oh, do you maybe want to take a couple deep breaths right
Uh-huh.
now? No,
Right.
they do it on their own.
Wow. That's so cool. I know that, like I said, music unlocks something in a person and it can be very transformative for some kids if they really resonate with that. So that's really cool that, parents are reporting back and giving you positive feedback on how their kids are doing, if they've participated in music therapy. Um,
Hmm.
so, in that aspect as well, have you seen music therapy strengthen family relationships or improve their quality of life?
I've seen both. With family relationships, whenever parents or even siblings are involved in the sessions,
Hmm.
they they learn that they can have positive reactions with those people.
Hmm.
Because I've worked with a lot of individuals that show aggression towards their
Hmm.
parents or towards their siblings. And
Hmm.
a lot of times that'll make siblings kind of stay away from them
Hmm.
and kind of isolate themselves away from them. And it probably makes them feel lonely. So getting them
Hmm.
involved in the music sessions has helped a few families in the past show that there can be positive interactions with their children.
Wow, that's super powerful. That's wonderful to hear. I love to hear that. Um, I mean, my son's only 4, but he has displayed aggression. So, that is hard I know it's hard for him, but it's also hard for me as his parent to watch him struggle with that.
Hmm.
And then of course physically, it's very painful. He's
Yeah.
headbutted me and busted my lip, and he's just to the point where he cannot, regulate himself, and it's hard for him. So I can understand where some parents would really appreciate, getting a safe space to interact with their child in a way that's fun, and I know that means the world to them. Um, so I'm very thankful that you are willing to facilitate that for them. So I'm sure that, anyone who's listening who is interested in that, I would hope that they would try and get music therapy started for their kiddos if they think it'd be beneficial. But in kind of wrapping up the episode, what would you like people to better understand about music therapy?
I think that I would like people to better understand that it's better to try it
Mm-hmm.
and it not maybe not work out for them than
Mm-hmm.
it would be to not try it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because even if you don't know what it is, you can ask, you can figure it out.
Right.
And I've noticed that maybe a lot of people don't try it because they don't have it in their Medicaid budget, or maybe they don't have it in
Mm-hmm.
their own budget if they're working on like private pay or self-pay. But it's better to try it than to just not know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said before, if it doesn't work out for the kid, there's plenty of other, non-traditional, like not OT or speech or anything like that, but there's other forms of therapy they could try.
There's always
Music, yeah,
recreational or
right,
behavior.
right. Yeah. There's so many other options out there for families if it's not, you know, a supplemental one. So I know that can seem intimidating if you don't really know anything about it. But I mean, once you really get down to the root of it and see the progress that kids can make, I mean, it makes all the difference. So like along with that, I know you mentioned Medicaid waiver issues, but are there any other barriers that families commonly face when trying to access music therapy services?
I feel like another common barrier is actually finding a therapist that has room in their schedule.
Right, right.
Because I have a lot of room in my schedule right now
Mm-hmm,
because I'm a newer therapist to the area.
mm-hmm,
But I know that like I think it's called like optimal rhythms. That might be what it used to be called, or
mm-hmm,
integrative music or something. Like they're
mm-hmm.
full.
Yeah,
And that's really the only company down here that I personally know of that offers music therapy.
right.
Other than I have a friend that I went to school with who also has her own company, and she
Mm-hmm,
does accept through like herself. She's a provider.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that with this area, like I mentioned before, there's only, I think off the top of my head, three places I know of for sure that offer music therapy because I have my son on the wait list and he's still nowhere near being close to being offered a
Yeah.
slot. Um, and, sometimes it's a financial thing for some families with this economy. It's hard to budget for extra therapies that are not the core ones. So I know
Mhm.
that that's also a big barrier to for them to deal with. And I know at least that's what some families have mentioned to me in the past. So not only just the wait list, but
Mhm.
paying for all these extra therapies or extracurricular activities is definitely difficult to navigate.
Mhm.
Um, so if a family that had a kiddo was listening today and wondering whether music therapy might be right for their kid, what would you want them to know?
I would want them to know that they should seek out a consultation, and I can give them some information and we can decide if music therapy would be right for them.
Yeah, short and sweet. That works out great. You can always ask and see, and if it doesn't work out, then I'm sure there's something else out there that might work better. Um, but I am a big believer that music heals people and it's a very powerful thing to experience. So I really, like I said before, I'll say it 100,000 times. I'm always grateful for all of my guests that come and talk on the podcast, but I'm very grateful that you talked about your business and how you work with these kids and adapt for them based on their skills and what they need.
Absolutely. I was happy to come. Thank you for making your post on Facebook and giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, I know. I have been trying hard to find some people, and you are one of the very few therapists that responded. So I'm very glad to have you on my podcast and talk about River City Rhythms. So how can families learn more about your program and connect with you?
Sure, I do have a Facebook page. It is River City Rhythms Music Therapy. You could search it up. My contact information is also on that Facebook page, but I think that you're also
Mhm.
going to try to put some of that
Yep.
in the notes
Hmm.
on here too.
Hmm.
You can give me a call, you can email me, you can text me, whatever is the easiest way for you.
Okay.
But I'd be happy to talk with anybody who wants a consultation or just wants some information about it.
Okay. That sounds great. Yes, I will post all of the links in the description. I will post your Facebook page and email and phone number. So if anyone who is listening who is in the tri-state area that would be interested in music therapy, you can reach out to Haley and schedule a consultation with her. So again, thank you so much, Haley, for joining us today and sharing your knowledge and experiences with music therapy. Um, if you'd like to learn more about Haley and the services offered through River City Rhythms, be sure to check out the links in the episode description. Thank you all for listening to Neuro-Spectrum Conversations, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.